I am not a financial advisor, and I never give financial advice on this channel. 100% of this content is for entertainment purposes only. Hello everybody, hope you're all doing well. It's Lane here with MetaShackle. Today I'm going to be taking a quick look at the total crypto market cap, as well as touching on the XRP and the Bitcoin charts, as we have been seeing some more divergence as I've been suggesting for people to watch. So things are getting very interesting. So let's not waste any more time and let's get into the video. First, taking a look at the total crypto market cap. As you know, here on the weekly chart, we've formed a massive cup and handle pattern, breaking out of the handle, coming up here, retesting, actually breaking back into the handle and testing off of the bottom trend line. We've since broken out into this area here, which I am now zoomed in on the daily chart. So after coming up here, setting these first few points, which almost looks like a type of a double top right here, price fell back down, coming down to this area of about 2.33 trillion. We then had this great move moving up that we're currently in, breaking through the equilibrium zone, forming a full body candle, including the wicks above and outside of the equilibrium zone, which is extremely bullish, and have now been playing around in this area, although we have been dropping as of last night and this morning. We hit the positive 2 line right here on my fib charts and saw quite a bit of resistance here. We also have a weak doji waterfall on the daily chart right up here at about the 3.51 trillion. We have one here on the weekly at about the 3.62 trillion. So I would be watching this pretty closely. There's a good chance we could come down, retest off of the top line in the equilibrium zone, perhaps even come back into the equilibrium zone and test off of the equilibrium line. Also keep your eye on this trend line right here, as this may give us clues as well, which probably makes the odds favor bottoming out somewhere in around this range, perhaps the upper quadrant of the equilibrium zone, as we do have a couple weak dojis in this area, but I don't mark them within the equilibrium zone, as it stands very clearly on its own. Now taking a look at Bitcoin, this is the hourly chart. We have this weak doji waterfall up here, which has actually been filled. I've been looking to see if it's what I call an echo, meaning it may play through right up here at around that 104,400 level. We did form this breaker block I've been talking about that actually failed. Price fell down through this area, breaking this lower BTC, which is no longer acting as support and may now act as resistance if you carry it through. We also formed another breaker block right here on the 1 hour, which is being crowned with a weak doji right here in this area as well. So if price does come back up here, there's a good chance that it may fill this gap, tapping this weak doji, filling it, then pulling back, then falling back again on the retest. We've also formed a small BTC right here in this area, and as you can see, price is playing around in that general area, but it only held for one candle. We have seen XRP and Bitcoin start to diverge from each other last night and into this morning, which is giving us extra bits of information. So if it does continue down, we do have a pin bar doji right here to keep an eye on around that 101,290. We also have a couple weak dojis down here lower, both on the 1 hour chart at about that 99,806 and 99,328. So this would be an interesting area to watch, because if we do fall down, we may see some very interesting things right here in this particular area, perhaps even bottoming out right here before continuing the move up. That doesn't mean that it has to, and it doesn't even mean that it will hold, but it's something to keep an eye on. I also forgot to mention that we are now trading below the Gaussian channel, which has turned red, which may be acting as resistance as well, coupled with this breaker block right here on the hourly. We did the same thing back here, coming back, forming this double bottom and moving back into the zone. So it doesn't necessarily mean that it will always act as resistance, but as you can see here, it's definitely started to. That'll be another thing to keep your eye on. Moving into the XRP chart, you can see that we have the flash crash marker up here at about that 270 level that has not been touched yet. We got pretty close right here with this high, which did not take out this previous high, which means that it's allowing buy-side liquidity to pile up above these highs. The breaker block that I talked about, as you know, has been broken. The bearish SIBI just below that, which was acting as resistance in a draw on liquidity, has now also been broken. You can see that where this fair value gap was formed here, it carried through here and is also carried through yet again in the same area. We have a weak doji reverse waterfall right here, which has actually been filled. I just have not marked that yet on the chart. We have a small bullish fair value gap right here, which although has acted as a form of resistance in this general area for about 6 hours, price has broken through it. We also have a weak doji marked out here on the charts. I just haven't had time to mark that as well. And you can see we've tapped into this lower SIBI right here on the 1 hour, which is centered at about that 240 level. And price has bounced off of it, so it is showing an active resistance at this point. We also have a weak doji reverse waterfall right down here at the $2.35 level, as well as one down here at around that 231 level that is within this bullish BTC on the 1 hour, which is centered at about 232. So if these do get filled, look for this to be a possible point of resistance. If we continue to take out these areas of resistance, it's very likely that we're going to go lower. But at the same time, you want to keep your eyes on the charts because we're kind of at this point to where it could go either way. We could continue to move downward and we could see that major draw in liquidity that I've been talking about. But at the same time, we could get an incredible bounce and come tearing right out of here. We're also trading below the Gaussian channel, and even though this candle didn't quite touch it, there's a chance this might act as resistance. Look for the Bitcoin chart to get some clues on this. So we're kind of at this crossroads right now, and we really need to pay very close attention to what we're seeing on the charts, because what happens now is likely going to determine the direction that we're moving into for quite some time. And as you know, the XRP breakout chart has been predicting for 5 months that the breakout would begin in the month of May, which I believe we have already started to see, moving into June, July, and potentially August. So I've always thought that the base was going to form in May, then moving into June, that's when we would start to see the real big move. So if we don't get this draw on liquidity moving into June, it's very likely that we may not go down to that liquidity zone marked on my charts and instead may have an incredible, perhaps even explosive move to the upside as the XRP breakout chart comes into play. But another thing that concerns me is about 90% of the influencers on YouTube are all extremely bullish. They're saying moon, 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 we're going out of here, we're moon, moon, moon. And that is very concerning because the 90% is generally wrong. So when I see a lot of people moving in one direction, I generally tend to step back and try to get a better perspective of the overall field. Give me a better idea what's coming. I do not march with the herd. I have always walked my own path and will continue to do so. That doesn't mean that's the right path. That's just how I am and how I prefer to be. So keep your eyes on that. And if everybody starts flipping over bearish, oh man, we're going to 50 cents. We're going to 50 cents again. Oh no, Bitcoin's going to 30,000. Then you might want to start thinking about the potential breakout occurring. So those are just some things to consider. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. Please do me a favor and hit the like button. It doesn't cost you anything and it helps the channel, and I'd really appreciate it. So thank you so much. Have a great day. For additional information and exclusive perks, do consider joining me and the rest of our community on Patreon.
Control my feelings, how to serve you once and